Christina, this is a great opening slide for your portfolio. You have used the technique of darkening the background and juxtaposed it against the very bright Buffalo Zoo sign. What that really says is that you're a student at Canisius College, but the thing that you're really passionate about is your work at the Buffalo Zoo. And we see that in the brightness of the Buffalo Zoo sign and also the arrow kind of pointing up. Our eye really goes to type and things, and especially arrows. So good start to your portfolio. I think that is a good way to begin things. And then you kind of take us on a literal journey here right through the front gates of the zoo. I love the textural elements going on in here that's created by the light that is falling on the subject from the side. Really emphasizes the age of the bricks, and especially that little sculpture to the lower right of the frame. And also it kind of having a gate there sort of blocks the viewer's access to what's behind it. So really what you're doing is making a statement about the fact that you are going to share with the viewer something that they normally would not be able to experience. So you're kind of giving us an insider's point of view. And then you kind of continue along this very chronological journey. Once we get inside, we see the signs. The thing I particularly like about this image is you've got these vines that sort of wrap around the brickwork, and it mirrors the shape of the snake on the side, on the sign. And there's really kind of this idea that everything is interwoven here, and we have sort of the obvious things and the not so obvious things, but they all kind of come together to ultimately make one grand picture or one grand operating day at the zoo. And then you get into some background stuff here. If I had to say there was one image in the group that I might pull out of here, it's this one, simply because it's kind of busy in the background, and I think, you know, certainly part of what you want to say is there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, but the stuff in the background is kind of oddly placed. The two dark vertical shapes behind the subject here are kind of coming out of her shoulder in a very unrefined way. And I just think that this image, while it does convey a sense of busyness, also just needs to be organized in a manner, I think, that's a little bit easier for the viewer to digest. And I think you do have some images like this as we go along here. So again, just thinking about tightening up your portfolio. I think this, on the other hand, is a little bit stronger in the sense that the focus is really on the face of the subject here. That very intense glare that is in her eyes is translated very well. Certainly there's a ton of busyness going on in the background, and especially that towel that again is kind of hanging in a place that looks like it's coming out of the back of her head. We might want to retouch that out using Photoshop, or, you know, if we're shooting it, just kind of consider a different position. But I think from the perspective of conveying the message that there's a lot going on, there's a sense of busyness, but there's also a human element of this place, and it involves the people that work here. I think this is a really successful image, and I think it works a lot better than that previous image. I think the viewer can connect with this person on an individual basis, whereas in that previous shot, besides the busyness, there just seems to be sort of a distance that person's expression has on their face. So we'll touch on the rest of your images in the second part of your videos.